So you can see I've painted in my shadows. It's almost straight raw umber, a little bit of ultramarine blue in there. But I continued over here, and these will not be in the shadows. The reason that I painted or washed in these two rocks, or this end of the point dark, is because it's going to stand out against some light water that's going to be picking up some reflection, some light reflection from the sky. So although these will carry light, if I wash them in dark and then lay light over top, these will become more dramatic and very strong. And because they're in this area, I want them to be strong. Not worried about these because they're larger. And they actually carry across this darker line as well. So now I'm going to begin to, still fairly low values, but paint in or wash in some of the rocks. So it's not about, okay, what it is, like what actually are the values on these rocks. It is about how it is perceived. And that's just one technique that I use to make sure that this small but very important little outcropping is perceived to be quite strong. So you can see, although not as dark as here, I'm becoming a little bit lighter as we work our way down, actually. So I'm keeping it fairly dark because, again, we are light against dark for the moment. For the moment, it's dark against white, right? But this guy's going to become weaker, softer lines. And eventually, it'll be sort of mid-tone grays in here. I want this dark background so that I can lay strong light over it, and each individual stroke will appear very strong. Oddly enough, you would think that I would wash it in lighter than this, because if sunlight's going to catch this, you'd want the light here. I reserve that until I lay in my last strokes, until I'm actually painting the painting, be it with a brush or a knife. Certainly with a knife. And so far I'm planning on using a knife. I like to have a bit of a darker background. Laying things in with the knife, your paint's just thicker. You put it in thicker. So for the moment, this makes things stand out, very dramatic. As we come down here, we're going to add a little more light onto these rocks, but we're going to fade off on these ones because they're at the edge of the painting. So just, little things to keep in mind here and there. I'm going to slowly add a bit of white here. It's not much. And let's actually get this line established as well. And the camera honestly does not do accurate justice to to the values perfectly. Some it exaggerates, some it sort of undermines. But hopefully you get the general idea. If I were doing this in the technique of the old masters, and I wanted very strong light on these rocks, yes, I would wash them in light, but I don't want that. My technique is very different. And the strokes on these rocks are going to be coarse and bold, impasto-ish in nature, even if I'm using the brush. I think. I always have to qualify what I say with the I think, because my mind changes a lot, as you know. And everybody paints in a different way. Everyone has their own way of doing things, and I have nothing against that. I'm so glad that there is such a variety of techniques and ideas out there. That is what keeps this stuff interesting. Variety. Variety is salt, pepper, and any other spice you can think of. Okay, that's a bit darker, that's good. We'll leave some of that in. Actually, to finish this, maybe I'll just speed things up. Actually, maybe let's not speed things up. I just want to mention something. I'm using almost straight raw umber now. The reason I'm doing that is because I would like to keep the possibility open to warm it up, warm the rocks up, or cool the rocks down in different areas. Raw umber is a good color to do that. You know, I could introduce a little bit of cobalt blue, but it cools it off right away, like in the wash-in. If I choose to, when I paint it in, add cobalt blue, that's fine. But in the meantime, it's like I'm leaving my options open, and I find raw umber to be pretty handy that way. So that's, you know, that's my base coat, my base color. You can't go wrong because, well, let's face it, it's brown, right? And if I want to have some warm purple in areas that are, you know, a little higher temperature where the sun might be just touching it a little bit, touching the rock a little bit, that works. And if I would like to just have a shady area, then I can add cobalt blue to the raw umber when I paint over it, and that cools it off. So, you know, regardless of what color or what value and color you end up painting your rocks, if you start with a wash-in of raw umber, it's never going to clash with whatever you decide. I mean, okay, unless you're going really strong purples or you know, yellows or something like that. But in this case, you know, that really is what applies to this case. Just going to touch my alizarin crimson right now and add that to the mix. Very gentle, just a little bit, and slightly warmer, because I do know that these rocks will be slightly warmer. And right away I'm going to thin. I don't really want too much translucency here. I want that to be fairly opaque. Okay, that's pretty round. Let's change that. There. Just added that stroke in there, and that Took some of the egg shape away. Don't like egg shapes, unless it's a still life and you're painting eggs. Okay, that's those rocks. For the moment, that will do. What we'll do is just back up here and I'll show you the painting as a whole. See, I've done these rocks now on the, or that little island on the right hand side as well. Anyway, that's the shape of it now. So it's getting a bit later on Saturday night, and I'm still playing with the foreground. As I mentioned, it's pretty important, so it has to be done well. But, you know, as you can see, I've played with some charcoal in different areas, just throwing around different ideas. I'm more or less just spending my evening throwing things against the wall and seeing what will stick. So, you know, I'm still in the right direction, but there's some stuff I want to do here. I really kind of maintain the idea that I do want this. I want strength right here. I want strength of mass. But it has to be well designed. You know, there have to be some interesting things within it that are consistent with the rest of the painting. So I'm playing. I will probably upload this tomorrow because there's no way I'm going to do that tonight. Again, have a good weekend. We'll talk to you soon. Well, this was one of those times when I was a little worried about this. I thought I need to have more subject matter here somehow, thinking of doing it in the rocks. And then as I was sitting in my chair a few minutes ago, I realized that the peak of this little island here was almost halfway between here and here, right in the middle. So I had all of this same sort of distant hillside coming across on the other side, and it just wasn't, you know, that's why something was needed here. The problem was not here, the problem was here. So I just added to it, and this is all going to be, you know, a closer plane of information, and that will help us also to focus more in this area. Anyway, that problem is solved, and I'm still playing. I'm working in the water, you know, trying to work towards getting a glow in here, reflecting from the sky. It's coming! Yippee!